A damn good writer, a caring son, and a bisexual man. He writes about that moment and much more in his new book. It's called The Yards Between Us, a memoir of life, love, and football. R.K. Russell, we're very happy to say, is here for his first interview about the book. Good to see you, Mr. Russell. We're glad to have you at the table.
Thank you for having me.
You write in detail. You've been through a lot in your life. You were bullied as a kid. You lost a father. You dated women. You were talking about that. Then you met the love of your life. But you said many times in your life you had to struggle between your private, personal life and your public football life. What do you mean by that?
I would say my football life and my football persona comes with certain expectations, you know, as a player. Oh, to be, you know, masculine, to be tough, to date women, you know, to be kind of this apex predator of men. And I say my private life, when I really mean private, you know, you can keep things to yourself. Not, don't everybody need to know everything about what you do. But when that privacy is more of a secret, secrets are shrouded more in shame. And when you start to attribute that to parts of yourself, like the people that you love, your relationships, things that should bring pride, shame just makes it a very dark place, a very lonely place.
Were you ashamed?
I think definitely at a part. You know, a lot what we hear, especially from male football culture, is about this toxic masculinity that we're all finally having conversations about. Also just the mental wellness aspect. I think secrets, shame, shrouding all of that in darkness is detrimental to your mental health. It's detrimental to your private and public life, you know, persona, and really just creates a rift in oneself.
Now, speaking of those words, toxic masculinity, you touch on it. There are certain locker rooms where you might hear certain things and you feel like the maturity of the team isn't where it needs to be to deal with real issues that one individual on the team might be dealing with. But then there's other locker rooms and teams that I've experienced where it was welcoming and embracing. Where do you believe the NFL is at now as it pertains to players that might want to come out?
I think the NFL is definitely being more intentional about making that space feel more welcoming. Same, I've been in locker rooms that have been very welcoming, very open, and the locker rooms that haven't really weren't hateful. I didn't feel like a fear for my life. I think it was just carelessness. It's not that intention to make sure that that LGBTQ plus athletes specifically feel included. So I think the NFL is definitely being more intentional.
And by locker rooms, do you mean the entirety of the team, or is it more individuals that are dealing with certain issues a different way?
I'd say it's an organization, honestly, because there are so many generations, especially in the organization.
That's true.
We have young players coming in, you know, who are raised a certain way. We have coaches who maybe coached for 20, 30, 40 years, you know, coming in with raised a certain way in their own preconceived notions. So there's a mix of generation. They're kind of like you get with a family.
I was going to, speaking of family, because in addition to football issues, you also had issues within your own family. For instance, right before that article came out, you told your mother for the first time, because it was going to make national news, you wanted your mother to know, so you said, Mom, I have something to tell you. I'm bisexual. And you said her response, 3 words that came out of her mouth were the most devastating. And see, I thought she was going to say, I always knew. That's what I thought she was going to say. But what did she say to you, RK?
So what about football?
Yeah.
And for me, it was devastating, but it was also a mirror, because that's how I lived my life. I had always put football first, you know, before my own well-being, before my relationships. So it was really a mirror of how I had taught everyone in my life to see me.
Yeah.
You know, my mother's here with me today. We've always been close. We'll continue to be close.
But I think it's important to point out, shortly after she said that, she came to you and said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that was my reaction. I love you, what I feel about you. I think it's important that she course-corrected very quickly.
And my mom, and I think as most parents do, they care about the things that we care about as well.
Yes,
so she knew that football was important to me. So that was kind of her initial
But her reaction is so revealing, actually, about what we all expect from football, right?
Exactly.
And I know 4 years ago is when you came out. Today, I think you'd probably say things are different. I'd love to hear what you think about a player today if they came out, how they'd be received. But for you, yourself, do you think coming out contributed to the end of your active NFL career?
You know, I'm not sure. I think historically we see players come out either after their careers or they come out at some point in it and they don't play again. But like I say in the book, I rather chase joy than conspiracy. I can't say what the reasons are, because I can say this one thing and a team can bring up 3, 4, 5 other reasons that any player would not get signed.
They're good at that.
Yeah, I like that. You'd rather chase joy than conspiracy.
Yeah, that's a great phrase.
It's interesting, too, that you describe yourself as bisexual, because early on in the book, you clearly did date women. You had a very significant relation. Whitney was her name. And then later on, you met Corey, you met other men, and you decided that this is who I love now. Where do you stand today? How do you feel today?
No.
We should say Corey's here too.
Corey is.
Shout out to Corey. Corey's here too.
The great thing about identity.
Hi, Corey.
Oh,
Corey and Mama.
Yeah, Corey and your mom together, yes.
The great thing about identity is our partners don't define that for us. I'm no less black because I'm dating a white man. I'm no less bisexual because I'm dating a man or a woman. So I still very much feel comfortable in my bisexuality. That's who I am. I have a great capacity to love different types of people. But right now, I'm with the love of my life.
Yes, and you said don't say retired football player, say former football player. Do you have any desire to play football again, or do you feel you're better off doing what you're doing now?
It's a bit of both. I definitely have that desire. I love football. I always love football, and I feel like I could still physically play. But there's so much that I've been able to do, so many lives I've been able to touch, and dreams that were literally dreams, not even goals, were dreams for me, have started to unravel and come true. So it would be harder. I think before I would pick up the phone and no matter what, I would drop everything and go.
Yeah, right.
Now it would be like, oh, well, I don't know. I got some stuff going on.
Let's just say you opened up the new chapter.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right, cheering you on in your new chapter, R.K. Russell. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you mind if we mention the book again?
Oh, please.
Hold up. The Yard Between Us. Look at all our graphics here, RK. Goes on sale today wherever you like to buy your books.